Hello and welcome. Jeff Minier with Shiloh Baptist Church of Bowie, Maryland. The question on our memory verse today, what verse says we should be enthusiastic for the Lord? 1 Corinthians 15:58. I've mentioned before how that putting a verse to music can often help us memorize it. And though I did not put this verse to music, the music I learned it to, the melody I learned it to, certainly does help. Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding For as much as you know that your labor's not in vain, your labor's not in vain in the Lord. For as much as you know that your labor's not in vain, your labor's not in vain in the Lord. Be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. All of 1 Corinthians 15, the chapter, is discussing the importance, the reality, the historicity of Jesus' resurrection from the dead. If we do not have a resurrection from the dead, we have no gospel. 1 Corinthians 15, 2, 3, and 4. If he's not raised from the dead, we have no hope. So he deals with this whole chapter, helping the church at Corinth to think through what it means. Some people want to say there really is no resurrection. It was just a mythical Jesus rose. Paul says, if it's not a bodily, physical, historical resurrection, we're all damned. There's no hope, there's no gospel, there's no future. But you get to verse 58 at the end. With a foundation of this whole chapter that the resurrection is real, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. How do I know it's not in vain? Because Jesus rose from the dead. His labor is not in vain. Your and my labor will not be in vain. Our labor bearing fruit for the glory of God is as sure as his resurrection, for it's based on his resurrection. Commands given, especially in the New Testament, in New Testament Greek language, they will come in a couple of different flavors. This command, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, this is the idea colored into the Greek language of be persistent. Make this the duration of your life. Be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. But what if I don't see fruit? What if it doesn't feel good? What if it hurts? What if our hearts come up with a zillion what if it's? Paul wants to assure you, if God has led you to where you are in your family, in your community, in your ministry, where you're trying to serve God in the circumstances you have, because the resurrection of Jesus Christ is sure, you and I need to persist. Be ye. I memorized this verse out of the King James. Every time King James uses a ye, that's an English you plural. Be all y'all. Be all y'all steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. So persist at being steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, always bearing fruit, always multiplying in the work of the Lord. Why? For as much as you know, you are sure, you are confident based on the resurrection of Christ, that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Our last devotional, we touched on that word labor. Labor is hard work with pain. It's hard work with toil, long efforts with pain. Your long efforts with pain are not in vain when you're doing it for Jesus, when you're doing it in the Lord. This verse has meant so much to my life because there are clearly definite times where I don't get to see the fruit of my efforts. But God's word is what I base my life on, not with what my eyes see. Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as you know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Thank you for joining with me today.